Back here inside the Phoenix Convention Center in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, our radio audience will rejoin us right here on the Roku channel in just a couple minutes. So the first of two times I introduce one of my good friends, my colleague on NFL Network, NFL Game Day Morning, and the man who's calling Super Bowl 57 on Westwood One. Good to see you, Kurt Warner.
Good to see you. Welcome to my home.
Yes.
Man. Welcome to my home.
I appreciate it.
Does it get better than this? Shouldn't the Super Bowl be here every year?
Yeah.
I think it should be.
You would like to have
I would like to have the home
field advantage?
I would like to sleep in my own bed.
I had that last year for the Los Angeles Super Bowl.
Know where I'm going. But just the weather, like it's perfect. A little cool in the morning, 75 every day. It's like perfect.
Okay, what can you do, since you just talked about the weather, what can you do about the traffic? Can you help with the traffic and weather together, Kurt Warner? On the
overall, I don't think the traffic here in Arizona is bad, especially if you know the different ways in which you can get here. But, every Super Bowl, if down here where everybody has to come for the experience and to see Rich Eisen, like it's going to be busy for every Super Bowl. But overall, I think our system's pretty good.
I appreciate you including me as an attraction.
You are an attraction,
Kurt. I greatly appreciate that. All right. Well, our pregame show started a half an hour ago.
I know.
So that's 8.5 hours is what we call insane, but we'll be there. But you don't do all 8.5 because you got to bail to go do the game, right?
I mean, I do most of it.
What are you gonna do? How many are you doing?
Well, here's the thing: is that we can't do video the last couple hours anyway. So I can't do my XO. So I might as well.
So you're out?
I might as well go do something
else.
else
leave
anyway.
The bag to me?
I can't show people what I want to show them. So So I leave it for you to fill. You're really good at filling. You do a really good job of filling.
Great. Thank you. Greatly appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right. Kurt Warner is here on the Rich Eisen Show. We're here on the Roku channel all week long, right up until the weekend. And then we even have a special on Saturday running throughout the weekend right up to kickoff of the big game. So we're here on the Roku channel, and we're back here on the Rich Eisen Show Radio Network. Joining us here, sitting at the Rich Eisen Show desk, furnished by Grainger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. And look who has just stopped by is my colleague and my friend, long time at the NFL Network, NFL Media Group, and of course a Super Bowl champion and a Hall of Famer, Kurt Warner. Good to see you again, sir. Good to have you here. You are still the last guy to win the MVP of a playing season and then the MVP of the Super Bowl.
That is hard to believe. Do you have any stats on how many have been there? Because I feel like there's been a lot of MVPs that have, won the MVP in the regular season and then gone to the Super Bowl.
Yes, I was told there'd be no stats. I have no idea. Guys,
I don't know the answer to that.
Brockman, are you looking that up?
But I feel like there's been a number of them, so I'm kind of surprised that it has been that long since one of those guys has found a way to break through and win a Super Bowl. But I think what I know as well as anybody is you get there and it's 60 minutes. And you got to put together your best 60 minutes as a team to win a Super Bowl. None of that has to do with how well you played during the regular season. But it is definitely a surprising stat to me. And I think it's going to be a challenge because, I think Patrick's going to win the MVP, as most people do. But I think it's going to be a challenge for them to change that again.
9, Rich. The answer is 9.
9 since 99 that have been in it? Yeah.
Yep.
9 who have won the MVP and then made the Super Bowl, but did not win the Super Bowl.
And I think I was probably the first one on that list, aren't I? So I did it last, but then I did it in 01 and lost, so I probably started that streak of 9.
So you're on the streak as well?
Yes, I'm part of the streak.
Brady's the one who created that streak then, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because you were the MVP of that season?
Go figure that Brady created that streak, right? Exactly. Some kind of Super Bowl streak.
Yet another streak that he created.
Yes.
So what, this Lombardi trophy that's in between us, sitting here on our set here at the Super Bowl, when you look at this beautiful piece of Tiffany hardware, what do you think of, Kurt Warner?
Well, you think of hoisting it, right? Like, from the time that you're 7 or 8 years old and you play the Super Bowl in your front yard every year, it's all based off of watching whoever's hoisting that trophy and standing up there on the podium and holding it in that one hand and celebrating. And so that's what I think about it. It automatically takes me back to the 99 season and the season that we won it, and being able to get up there and kind of embrace it. I mean, you know how tough it is. You got to wear gloves or whatever to even touch it now. So to have the moment where you can touch it and hold it up and it doesn't matter what fingerprints get on it, or you can kiss it if you want, whatever you want to do, that's the first thing that comes back. And
by the way, if you look over your shoulder, I believe you hoisting it for the first time in your life right there, Kurt.
That's the moment. And, and the other thing is you want every player to be able to experience that. right? It's a dream of all of ours, and there's been so many great players that haven't had that moment. But that's what I think about when we get to this point, and this, every year, and you have it here on your set, is I think, man, I want somebody who hasn't had the opportunity to hoist that thing to get to hoist it. I want to see that moment because it is such a unique and special moment that we all dream of.
Did you get it? Did you get to take it anywhere? Did you take it somewhere?
No, I didn't get to drink milk out of it or anything like they do with the Stanley Cup. But
I think didn't Kelce the last time he win this shoot beers off? Like he had beers right down. Or was that a Patriot who did that? I don't know, Brockman.
We didn't take it and throw it around on boats or anything like that either. We didn't do any of that
from
stuff.
Boat to boat.
No. So the actual one, nope. I just got to kind of hold it that night. But they do give us a replica.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah, they gave us all replicas of it. So I do have one at my house.
So you're going to bring it to game day morning on Sunday? I mean, you're going to.
Do you need me to bring it?
You were just talking about this your home Super Bowl.
Why can't we have the? I mean, I can bring it. Anything else you want me to bring? I got some other trophies I could bring.
Sandwiches. It's 8.5 hours.
All right. Okay. I could probably do that.
Bring
as well.
something. I don't know.
Whatever you need.
I don't know. Maybe
for those last couple hours when I go up and eat the hot food, I can leave some sandwiches for you guys. Hey, you got to mess with him a little bit.
Kurt Warner going to call Super Bowl 57 for Westwood One and abandon the NFL Network game day morning crew about 2/3 of the way through 8.5 hours. Don't worry. We'll leave.
I know you hold it down.
You leave the light on for us.
You guys
we'll close up shop there. Yeah. Kurt Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show here at the Super Bowl in Arizona. So the key to this game, what do you got for me? I mean, you are the grinder of tape of all grinders of tape. I'm sure you have looked at everything. Well, I mean, you were at the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things. That's kind of what I do all week is kind of dive into the other areas that people aren't talking about. But I mean, if we're talking about the key to this game, to me, it's the trenches. As much as I want to say it's the quarterbacks, because I think we have two great quarterbacks, two guys. I thought Jalen should have been the MVP before he got hurt. I think Patrick will win it now. So I want to talk about them, but I believe this is the most dominant team in the National Football League in both trenches, not just one side or the other, but defensive line, defensive front, offensive line. I think Philly is the best team that we have in the National Football League.
They eviscerated that trench in Philadelphia against San Francisco. I know so much is being made about, who did Philadelphia beat? Right. I'm here. I said that was going to be the number one troll sports TV storyline coming in, and I'm hearing it more and more. But, Brock Purdy was half of himself when he came back in after Josh Johnson, but they knocked him out. They knocked both of them out.
They were in the backfield, over and over again. I break down tape, and, there's times where there's wide open receivers running somewhere, and, we always want to say, just find that wide open guy. But, there's three guys in the quarterback's lap, when he's trying to do that because there's pressure from everywhere.
You were saying Ayuk was open. I was listening to the broadcast on the way home. Ayuk was open on the play that Purdy got knocked out.
Would have been a huge play, maybe even a touchdown on that play. But I mean, you got, and it's not just one guy. I think that's the thing that I always look at in these games too, is how many different ways can a team beat you? How many different guys can beat you? So the offensive line of the Eagles is great. Sanders is a great running back, but they've got three running backs that I believe can all make big plays for them. Jalen Hurts can make plays. On the defensive side, to have four guys that had 10+ sacks. I mean, four guys. I mean, it's unbelievable. So that to me is the key to this game: is how does Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and this Chiefs team, how do they try to at least just match the production of the trenches for the Eagles? I mean, Chris Jones. He's one guy, and not that they don't have other guys up there, but he's going to have a huge game.
Yeah.
The whole offensive line is going to be, put to task by this defensive front over and over and over again. I mean, we all remember the last Super Bowl, and I know they had injuries up front, but the front of Tampa against this Chiefs team dictated that whole game, and so that to me is I don't know what they're going to scheme up. Screen passes, quick passes. Is Patrick able to pull some of his magic when they get quick pressure and avoid that and make big plays? But I truly believe Philadelphia is better in the trenches by a long shot, and that's going to dictate the course of this game.
Kurt Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show, and Mahomes was compromised in that Super Bowl against that Bucs front seven as well. We're talking about his ankle so much, and Andy Reid said today that it looks like the entire playbook is available to him. Yeah. What's your 2 cents on that subject?
I mean, I think the entire playbook was available last time. I mean, you know, he's so unique. I mean, if you go back and watch the championship game, you know, they're like third play of the game, they rolled him out to his right. To throw a pass. Like, okay, once you start doing, like, what's not available if you're willing to roll him out?
Well, maybe the snow globe play where they do a ring around the rosy.
Okay, I'm not sure if Coach Reid drew that one up.
Right.
You know, and there was another time where, you know, Cincinnati got quick pressure in the inside, and Patrick just turned and ran to his left, and then, I mean, like, I think everything was available last week, probably more so this week if there's anything that they were afraid to do.
Right.
I just think Patrick is special, and he's got the ability to throw without his feet, you know, as well as anybody in the league. And so even if there is some residual issues there, he makes up for it with some of the special stuff that he can do throwing the football. So I feel like 2 weeks off, I don't even think it's going to be a factor unless he re-injures it.
Okay, so then what the Chiefs need, you mentioned Chris Jones. I mean, that's what because you're just assuming the offense is going to show up in a certain way to try and counterbalance that front seven. I mean, I'm picking up that you like the Eagles in this game, Kurt. I'm not going to lie.
I do like the Eagles right now. You know, again, Patrick's always that X factor, but less than I think it's about Chris Jones, although, you know, if they could get pressure with Chris and Frank and just those guys up front, I believe it's going to be about Spags and his pressure game. You know, because Jalen's been so good, but the one area that he still struggles with more than any others is when you get quick pressure on him. Mm-hmm. You know, you get free runners, and he's got to make those quick decisions and throw the football, and that's where he struggles. So I think the pressure game of Spags and what they do defensively to try to confuse Jalen Hurts and get after him in the pass game, I think that's going to be a bigger key in this game than just hoping that the front four wins over and over again, because I don't see it happening, because in the championship game, you know, they put Chris Jones out on the defensive end position, and he won that last. You're not putting him out there against Lane Johnson. Like, that's not a matchup that you want. So you're going to keep him inside. But Jason Kelce's so good. I mean, there was one snap from the game last week where, you had Bosa and Armstead on the same side of the field. And you saw Jason Kelce snap the ball, and he literally turned and sprinted in that direction to go, I'm coming over here and helping these guys. Like, I know where their biggest strength is on the defensive line. I am going to make sure that I double team that side. I believe you're going to see him do that every opportunity he gets with Chris Jones if they play him on the inside. So it's going to come down to scheming up opportunities to get Chris Jones one-on-one and hopefully win, or get free hitters on Jalen Hurts and hope that he makes a mistake here or there.
One last tape head, all 22 question for you, Kurt Warner. Again, your QB Confidential. Check it out on YouTube, which is where you
lots of videos all over this week.
It's so insightful. It's spectacular. Is why does Travis Kelce get so wide open? I mean, we were talking about it just earlier this week. Who was it, Chris, that was talking about watching it? TJ, we couldn't believe just seeing it on film. Who was that earlier this week? It was.
We've been saying it the whole time. Like, why is he not triple teamed on every single play?
Exactly.
We
couldn't believe it.
The fan people talking. Why don't you just triple team that guy? Because they're going to throw it to him. That's impossible to do.
But why? But
it's really hard to double team.
But everybody knows that he's going to get the ball.
No, but it's really hard. But the reason why he's so wide open so often is, first and foremost, the feel that he has for the game along with Patrick. It's not just Travis. It's them together and understanding how to adjust routes. And so you'll see, Travis numerous times in a game where he's supposed to be running like a deep corner route.
Right.
And he just gets out there and he realizes the defender that he just left, and he realizes the defender that's outside, and he just kind of stops where the big hole is. Or he'll be running a deep crossing route, and he'll stop inside between the hashes when he's supposed to be outside the numbers on the other side, because he's like, well, I know that linebacker's over there, and this linebacker's here, and I know that Patrick will see it.
Yeah.
And so that's one reason he gets so wide open. The second thing is he's so good at adjusting after the fact. So there was a play against the Jags in their playoff game.
Yeah, he set a record for most catches.
Yeah,
in a game
but he's actually supposed to run a flat route on that play.
Right.
And the Jags dropped their defensive end out to cover him. So he's running to the flat, and the defensive end is like, was literally right on top of him from the get-go,
right,
and is running out to the flat with him. And he just stops and throws him by and comes back to the inside. And Patrick buys a little bit of time, flips it to him to the inside, and gets 12 yards on the play, where he wasn't even supposed to be in there. He was supposed to be outside. But they have such a great rapport with one another. And Travis has such a great feel for where defenders are and how to adjust his routes accordingly that it's hard to stop him. Because, like, who's going to cover a man-to-man? Like, you're not putting a safety or a linebacker on him to cover a man-to-man.
Right.
So now you have to cover them with zone, and he's going to find the opening in the zone, and Patrick is good enough to allow him to make those adjustments and make the plays with him.
Who was that guy for you? Marshall? Fitz? Who was it? Where you had that sixth sense?
I was more of a structure guy.
Okay.
Where I didn't like my guys adjusting as much. I wanted to, because that's the hard thing.
Yeah.
There was another play in that Jacksonville game where Travis goes and runs a deep corner route, and Patrick thinks he's going to stop, and they missed a play because of that, because they weren't on the same page, even though they usually are. And so I was a guy that's like, you just run where you're supposed to go. I'll read the defense, and then I'll get it to the right guy. But, I mean, as far as a feel for the game, Marshall was because he saw what I saw. And that's kind of what I'm saying is that Travis and Patrick see the same things in the course of a play, and you don't very often see that from receivers, that they can see and understand what a quarterback's seeing. So he can hang with you a little bit longer. And, Marshall was definitely the guy that I knew sometimes when he was running routes, I'm like, I know exactly where he's going to break this and how he's going to break this, because he's seeing exactly what I'm seeing, and it made it like stealing. And it looks like that sometimes with Patrick and Travis.
Yeah, it makes sense. Marshall would be saying things as I'm thinking it on television.
Yes, exactly.
Like he would do that all the time as well. Kurt Warner, you can see Kurt and I and the rest of the NFL Game Day Morning Crew Sunday starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 8.5 hours, but not all of them for you because you big time us to go call Super Bowl 57 on Westwood One with Kevin Harlan. And I appreciate you joining us here, certainly since you're going into your darkness retreat starting later on today, right? And we won't see you. You come out on
Sunday? We got 8.5 hours of TV we got to do, so I think I need a few days of isolation.
That's what you do, right?
Before I get ready for the big
make
game.
your decisions.
Yeah, but in my dark room, there's actually a film. That's how I do it. I just lock myself in the room, but I have tape.
My darkness retreat is rooting for the Jets.
Yes, every Sunday for 3 hours. At least,
honestly,
right?
I haven't seen light, barely light from 53 years.
Well, I think you need to change your routine. The isolation chamber is not working for you.
I got to switch it up?
Yes, you got to change it up.
Open the shade, open the door, open the window.
If you join Aaron in his isolation chamber, then maybe your isolation on Sunday afternoons might change a little
I'll bring the tea.
Okay.
Aaron might be joining you soon, Rich.
That's right. That's right.
That's
and he might be coming to the Jets,
That's
which,
what
by
I'm
the way,
saying.
and again, isolation and darkness, perfect way to get ready for the Jets. Perfect. Thanks for coming on, Kurt.
You
Greatly
got it, my
appreciate
friend.
Super Bowl champion and the last guy to win MVP of the league and MVP of the big game, Kurt Warner, right here on the Rich Eisen Show.